Imagine a typical evening. Power goes out. Not just for a few minutes, but for a long time. After a while, you realize something simple. There is a flashlight somewhere. But you do not know where it is. The water pressure may drop. The internet becomes unstable. Family members are writing in different chat groups. Your phone battery is running low. And although you seem to have the necessary supplies at home, there is no clear plan.
And this is where chaos begins, not preparedness. The problem with a prolonged blackout is not only the lack of electricity. The real problem is that the systems we rely on every day start to fail one by one. Electricity, water, communication, medication, documents, safety. This video is not about panic. And it is not about expensive equipment. It is about 7 basic things that should be clear in advance, so that in a stressful moment you do not have to guess, you do not have to argue, you do not have to search through cabinets in the dark. You can calmly know where everything is, how long it will last, who to contact, and what to do first. During a blackout, the problem is often not that you do not have the right things, the problem is that you cannot find them quickly. A person may have a flashlight, a power bank, batteries, cables, wet wipes, medication, documents, candles, and chargers. But if all of this is stored in different places, it is not a system. It is just a collection of items spread around the apartment. While the power is on, this disorder feels normal. The flashlight is somewhere in a cabinet. The batteries are in another drawer. The cable is near the computer. The first aid kit is in the kitchen. The documents are in a folder. And the contact list exists only on the phone. But when the lights are already out, the phone is losing charge, a child is nervous, and adults start opening cabinet after cabinet, this small detail turns into chaos. This is exactly why a blackout box is useful. It does not have to be an expensive emergency kit. It does not have to be a large box. It can be a plastic container, a strong bag, a drawer on a shelf, or one separate shelf in an obvious place. The point is not the box itself, the point is having one clear place you can go to immediately after the power goes out. Inside, it is better to divide everything not beautifully, but functionally. The first group is light, a headlamp, a small handheld flashlight, spare batteries or charged rechargeable batteries, and a small LED lamp. This is what should work first, so you are not searching for everything else in the dark. The second group is communication and charging, a power bank, short cables for phones, charging adapters, a cable for the router, or a mini uninterruptible power supply if you already use one. The task here is simple. Do not waste the first minutes looking for the cable that was usually somewhere nearby. The third group is information, a paper list of important phone numbers, addresses, family contacts, neighbors, nearby pharmacies, hospitals, the building manager, or essential local services. This matters because your phone may run out of battery, the internet may disappear, and the number you need may exist only inside a messenger app. The fourth group is basic hygiene, wet wipes, hand sanitizer, trash bags, and gloves. This may not look urgent in the first minutes, but after a few hours, these small things strongly affect the feeling of normal life. The fifth group is basic household safety, a marker, a notebook, tape, a small knife or multi-tool, and a lighter as a backup tool. Not as the main source of light. If you keep candles at home, treat them as a last resort backup, not as the main lighting plan. If there is a child, an older person, or someone with regular medication in the family, it is better to make a separate mini pack inside the same box. Medication, dosages, glasses, spare batteries for devices, and a simple paper instruction. This should not exist only in one adult's memory. It should be physically stored near the other important items. A blackout box should not be hidden where it is hard to reach in the dark. A bad place is a high shelf, a deep storage room, a cabinet behind other boxes, or any place that requires walking through a dark corridor first. A better place is near the entrance, in the hallway, near the kitchen, or in the room where the family usually gathers. The box should be labeled, and everyone at home should be shown where it is. Because if only one person knows where the emergency kit is, that is also a weak point in the system. Once a month, the box should be checked quickly. Is the power bank charged? Do the flashlights work? Are the batteries still good? Has the needed cable disappeared? Are the medications still available? Is the contact list still current? This check takes only a few minutes, but it is what turns the box from a nice idea into a working tool. The difference between chaos and a system is visible immediately. In one case, a person walks through a dark apartment, opens cabinets, and asks, "Where is the flashlight?" In the other case, they open one box, turn on the light, take out the cable, check communication, and start acting. A blackout box does not make your home fully autonomous, but it closes the main household failure of the first minutes. The situation when everything seems to be there, but at the exact moment you need it, you cannot use it quickly. A 72-hour water reserve is not just a few bottles standing by accident in the corner. It is a system that should be clear in a few seconds. The main mistake sounds very calm. If something happens, I will collect water later. But this word later is often exactly what breaks the plan. Because during a disruption, you are not the only one collecting water. The whole building does it. The whole entrance, the district, and sometimes half the city. Water may still be coming from the tap, but the pressure may already be dropping fast. On upper floors, water often disappears first. In a private home, if the electricity goes out, the well pump may stop immediately. In a modern high-rise building, pressure pumps, automation, and internal water systems often depend directly on electricity. Without power, water in tall buildings can disappear almost instantly. And when everyone starts taking out pots, bottles, buckets, and canisters at the same time, there is almost no time left for calm decisions. That is why a proper water reserve should answer 3 questions immediately. What can be used for drinking? What can be used only for household tasks? And how many days will it last? The first rule is this: do not mix drinking water and technical water in one plan. Drinking water is for drinking, for simple food preparation, for taking medicine, for baby food, and for minimum personal hygiene like brushing teeth and washing your face. Technical water is for the toilet, cleaning, washing hands, and other household tasks. Pay attention to one more detail. Pets should not be given technical water. They need clean drinking water too, otherwise they can become seriously ill. If the entire reserve is stored simply as water, then in a stressful moment, clean drinking water can easily be wasted on flushing or cleaning. The second rule is to count not by bottles at random, but by people, pets, and days. Not, we probably have some water, but clearly, day 1, day 2, day 3. Minimum reference point is 2 to 3 liters of drinking water per person per day, and 2 to 4 liters of technical water per person per day. Drinking water for pets should be calculated separately based on the animal's weight. On average, about 30 to 50 milliliters per kilogram of body weight per day. For a child, an older person, a sick family member, freeze-dried food, or hot weather, this amount should be increased in advance, not when the tap is already empty. The third rule is labeling. Each container should clearly say what it is: drinking water or technical water, the date, and the place of use. For example, kitchen, bathroom, toilet reserve. This looks like a small detail only until the first outage. In reality, a label on a canister removes one extra question at the exact moment when everyone is already nervous. Another mistake is storing the entire water reserve in one place. It is better to distribute water around the apartment. Some in the kitchen, some in the storage area, some in the bathroom or near the toilet. This way, the reserve stays accessible even if one area is inconvenient to use. It is also worth preparing a quick refill plan. Where are the empty canisters? Which bottles can be filled immediately? What is suitable only for technical water and what must not be used for drinking? The goal is not to start an inventory during the disruption. The goal is to understand in a few minutes what you already have, what you can quickly fill, and what should not be used first. The difference between chaos and a system looks simple. In one case, a person runs through the apartment with empty bottles and opens every cabinet. In the other case, they see labeled containers, understand the reserve by days, and calmly distribute the water. A 72-hour water reserve is not panic, it is household insurance. It does not solve every problem, but it removes the most dangerous part of the first hours: uncertainty. A 3-day blackout should not be lived through like one long evening. That is exactly how people usually waste their supplies incorrectly. In the first hours, it feels like you can use more light, charge all devices at once, check the internet more often, open the refrigerator one more time. Use drinking water for household tasks and eat whatever is most convenient. Everything looks harmless. Until it becomes clear that only the first day has passed and part of the resources has already been used without a plan. The main mistake is thinking about supplies as a pile of things. There is water, there is food, there is a power bank, there are flashlights. But for an outage that lasts several days, the more important question is different. What can be used today? What must stay for tomorrow? and what should not be touched until the third day. That is why resources should be divided not only by category, but also by time. Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. The first critical resource is water. It should be separated immediately into drinking water and technical water. Drinking water is specifically for drinking, and for simple food preparation, and specifically for your medicine, and specifically for a child, and specifically for an older person, and specifically for minimum hygiene. Technical water is for the toilet, washing hands, basic cleaning, and general household tasks. If this separation does not exist, drinking water quickly starts going into tasks where technical water could have been used. Pay attention to one more detail. Pets should not be given technical water. Drinking water for pets must be calculated separately and included in the family food and water reserve. But separation alone is not enough. Drinking water needs a daily limit. Not we drink as much as we need and deal with it later, but we must plan clearly. How much can be used on the first day? How much must remain for the second day? And what amount should not be touched until the third day? The same rule applies to technical water. Flushing, cleaning, and washing hands should not consume the whole reserve in the first hours. The second critical resource is battery power. During a long outage, batteries should not be treated like an endless source. You do not need to charge everything at once, and you do not need to keep every device active just in case. It is better to assign one main phone for communication. Keep one backup phone turned off or in maximum power saving mode, and turn the router on only according to a schedule. For example, communication is checked once every hour. The internet is turned on for a short session, specifically to receive your messages and check for important updates, and specifically to contact family or to send your essential information. Then the router is turned off again. This is calmer and more reliable than keeping everything on all day and then discovering by evening that the battery was spent on waiting. The third resource is light. The mistake is trying to light the whole apartment as if it were a normal evening. During a multi-day outage, light should work in specific places. One main room for the family, one safe route to the bathroom, one small light near the sleeping area, a headlamp for tasks that require both hands, and a room lamp only when the family is actually gathered together. This way, light is not background decoration. It becomes a tool. It is turned on when it is needed and turned off when the task is done. The fourth resource is food. On the first day, it is better to use food that spoils faster, but without opening the refrigerator constantly. Do not check it every 10 minutes. Do not stand with the door open. Do not decide the menu while cold air is escaping. It is better to calmly decide once what should be eaten first and what can stay inside. After that, food is easier to divide by days. The first day is for products that may spoil faster. The second day is for food that stores well and needs minimal preparation. The third day is the reserve. Canned food, crisp bread, ready-to-eat pouches, nuts, dried fruit, instant porridge, and other food that does not require complicated cooking. The fifth resource is communication with family. During a long disruption, you do not need to write constantly in different chats and wait for replies every minute. It is better to agree in advance on a simple schedule. When do we check communication? Who writes to whom first? What do we do if the internet disappears? And what short message do we send instead of long explanations? The less chaotic communication is, the longer the phone battery lasts, and the less anxiety there is inside the family. The sixth resource is order. This does not sound as important as water or battery power, but order usually starts breaking first. A flashlight was taken and not returned. A cable was moved to another room. Documents were placed on the table. The first aid kit was opened and left somewhere random. After a few hours, the apartment turns into a search for everything. The rule is simple. After using an item, return it to its place. Water stays in its zone, cables stay near the charging area. Flashlights stay where they can be found in the dark. The first aid kit, documents, hygiene items, and the blackout box do not spread around the apartment. 3 days are not the same condition repeated 3 times. The first day often runs on adrenaline. The second day needs routine. By the third day, fatigue, irritation, and small household problems begin to build up. If resources are not divided in advance, the family has to make every decision again and again, and that becomes exhausting very quickly. A proper 72-hour plan looks much simpler. Today we use only this. Tomorrow, this must remain. The third day reserve is not touched unless necessary. This approach does not make the situation comfortable, but it makes it manageable. That is the difference between supplies and a system. Supplies mean that things exist. A system means you understand how not to spend everything too early. At this point, you have the basic physical layer of home preparedness. You know where your blackout box is. You know how much water you need for 72 hours. and you know why resources should be divided by day, not used randomly in the first few hours, but supplies are only the first half of the plan. During a longer outage, the next problems are usually less visible. One critical area is medicine. Next, consider your family communication plan. Then there is the hidden carbon monoxide risk, and information that disappears when the internet stops working. That is why the next part is about the things people often forget, until the situation becomes stressful. If you have not prepared those things yet, the second part is the one to watch next.